Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you are well. And as always, if you aren't feeling particularly well, that you'll feel better after this session. Today, the day that I'm recording this, it is the spring equinox, which, at least in the northern hemispheres, brings us closer to equal length day to equal length night, right? That sort of balance of energies, which for a lot of cultures is the new year, right? And it is something that is striven for, right? Particularly, again, Eastern cultures, right? This balance of energy, or the middle way, yin and yang, or Ida and Pingala, in the Indian tradition, or the Vedic tradition anyway. So I thought today what we would start with is a little bit of a balancing pranayama, which is the idea of, or it's called samavriti, so equal length inhale to exhale. And for most people, this is a really simple breathing exercise. We won't do the holds at the bottom or the top of the breath, but as always, if this doesn't feel right for you, then feel free to just breathe your normal breath. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, I'm sitting up on a block to give myself a little bit of release through my hips. You set up however you would like to. And then, so long as you can have a tall seat with a long spine. You can be cross-legged or on your shins, whatever works best. And let's take a few clearing breaths to begin. So inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice how your breath is flowing. If it feels really smooth and spacious, then acknowledge that for whatever it's worth. Alternatively, you might notice some sticky or choppy spots along the way, in which case you could gently try to lengthen through those parts of the breath just to smooth it out a little bit more. If you're breathing through your nose, can you see maybe which nostril is flowing a little bit more freely? It is said in the tradition that if you're breathing more through the right nostril, the pingala, that it's your body trying to fire itself up and get more energy. Or if you're breathing more through the left side, ita, it's your body trying to cool off a little bit more. Or if you're breathing equally through both sides, in theory, your energies are balanced. And science has shown that the dominant nostril sort of changes every 90 minutes or so. So there is a little bit of something to it. Anyway, simply notice. And then start to count your breath. Count how long it takes to inhale. Count how long it takes to exhale. Because even if the inhale is a little bit longer, it might be your body trying to fire up. If the exhale is a little bit longer, it could be the body trying to cool off. But the goal is to start to bring the inhale and the exhale into balance. So it might even be inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, or however long it takes for you to breathe. But continue breathing here now, if you can, with an equal length inhale and exhale. few more breaths, just like this. And at the end of your next exhale, let go of the breath control. Return to your natural breath. Know that at any point, if things get too wobbly or shaky, too fiery or intense, if you're able to balance your breath a little bit more, then it might help dispel the wobbles and shakes, get rid of the fire and intensity. Gently flicker your eyelids open. And if you're sitting up on anything, maybe you decide to remove it from underneath you. I'm going to take this big block out from underneath me, and I'm going to switch up the crossing of my legs just to balance out my legs a little bit. And then let's reach the right arm up to the sky, left fingertips out to the side as you exhale. Start to fold sideways over to the left. So try not to round forward so much. Think of spiraling those right ribs up to the sky. And then don't let that ear or shoulder creep up to your ear. Wrap it down the back. Really root the right sit bone down as you reach the right fingertips away. One more breath here. And then inhale, come back to center. We'll switch sides. So left arm reaches up. Exhale over to the right. You can kind of ease in and out of it. You might even press the right fingertips away from you on the floor to puff into the ribs on the left side. Really looking for a long line on the left side of the body. And then inhale, come back to center, shake it out a little bit. Let's twist. So reach both arms up to the sky. As you exhale, start to twist to the left. Your right hand might come forward onto your knee. Left hand can come behind you, fingertips pressing into the floor, so you find a nice long spine here. With every inhale, lengthen through the spine. With every exhale, maybe you twist a bit deeper. Now watch out for that right hip. It likes to sneak forward. Can you bring it back? Last breath here. And then inhale, come back to center. Right away, twist to the opposite side. Left hand comes forward, right hand goes back. And again, you might use the right hand pressing into the earth to lift a little bit higher. Wrap the left hip back. So the rotation is really just through the spine. Last breath here. And then inhale, come back to center, shake it out, make your way to hands and knees. So eventually setting up with your knees underneath your hips, toes can be tucked or untucked behind you, hands outer shoulder width apart or wider, little draw of belly button to spine. And as you inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. Exhale, round through your spine. Tuck your tailbone under, really press the floor away. Inhale to dip the belly, coming into cow. Exhale, round the spine into cat. So a few more of these undulations on your own time, on your own breath. If there's any other natural movement that would feel good here, feel free to add on. Maybe wag the tail from side to side. Or deeper circles through the spine. You might take big barrel rolls through the chest and shoulders. Really just going wherever you need to go for a couple more breaths. And then slowly come back to center. Little draw of belly button to spine. And you might stay here, just playing with de-weighting the knees and then lowering them back down if you wish. Or exhale, lift the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Hug the upper arm bones toward each other. Press the floor away with your fingertips so that the weight comes out of the heels of the hands a little bit more. You could pedal your heels toward the floor, bending one knee and then the other. Wrap the upper arm bones toward each other. Give yourself a little bit more support and stability through the shoulders. Last couple breaths here. And then bend your knees, look forward. Take as many steps as you need to come to the top edge of your mat in your standing forward fold. You might choose to rest your elbows on your knees or thighs, or bring blocks underneath your hands to bring the floor up to you. Maybe you clasp opposite elbows with hands to get more traction through your spine. You could sway a little bit from side to side. But since we're looking for balance, let's try and find an equilibrium between tension and release. So make sure the knees aren't caving in. Send them out to the baby toe edges of the feet a little bit more. Maybe you think of widening the sit bones slightly at the top. And then relax through the upper body, through the torso. Last couple breaths here. Release your hands with fingertips to your shins or blocks or maybe the earth. Inhale, little partway lift, belly button to spine. Beam the heart forward, try not to lift through the chin. Exhale, let it all go. Whew. Couple more, you can sigh or flutter your lips. And then bend your knees, head heavy, arms heavy. Slowly start to roll up to standing. One vertebra at a time. You can always use your hands on your knees or thighs for a little bit more support. Eventually coming all the way up to standing. Couple loops of your shoulders, up, back and down, little wiggle, noodle or release. And then bring your hands to your hips. Let's just do some gentle hip circles, knees bent to move here. Otherwise, it will feel really awkward. Make sure you go both directions. And then come back to center. All right, feet hip width apart. Flare the toes so they're nice and wide, and then bring them down. Little draw of belly button to spine. On your inhale, sit into your chair pose. So hips down and back. Even here, let's find that a little bit of balance. So rather than knees in, send them out. And I swear, the more that you send the knees out to the baby toe edge of the feet, the less pressure the tops of the thighs are going to take. Tailbone down slightly, belly button to spine, and then bring your arms to cactus. If you'd prefer to reach them overhead, getting a little bit fiery, then you're welcome to do so. If you'd like a bit of a break for the shoulders, then bring the hands to prayer. Last couple breaths. Tailbone down, hips low, heart high. Okay, come on up to standing. Shake it out. We can't do a class about balancing energies without going a little bit more yang, a little bit more balancing work. So send the weight over to your right leg. A little buoyancy on that supporting knee. You might come to toes on the floor, or I'm going to turn sideways, pick up the left leg and extend the toes or the heel forward. Now notice you don't want to hike up through the left hip. And if you feel like you have to lean back or buckle under to lift your leg up, just don't lift it quite so high. Guarantee no one cares how high your leg is, okay? And then take a few easy pulses of the leg up and down. Right? Almost thinking of pulling the heel in to lift up. And maybe you get a bit of hike that way. Okay, keep the left leg lifted, couple pulses of the supporting leg. Right? Just finding the buoyancy there on the knee. And then on your next exhale, sweep back to your airplane, warrior three. Flare the toes on the lifted foot so your brain can find it in space, and then reach the heel further back. Wrap the outer right hip back. Hands could be on your hips, or maybe they reach along back behind you, like you're flying through the air. Last couple breaths here. Maybe you have some ability going even now. Okay, charge the supporting leg. Inhale, lift that lifted knee all the way forward and through. I'm gonna turn to face you. That's a test of balance. Inhale here, exhale out to the side. Whew. And back and out. Now your toes can be on the floor. Right, you're still doing the work if your weight is over on the right leg. Pause here. Let's go into tree pose. So you might bring your foot to the upper inner thigh, to your calf below the knee, or toes to the floor, sole of the foot pressing into the ankle. You just don't want to bring your foot right against your knee, right? Don't press hinge joints out sideways. So wherever you are, press your foot into your leg into your foot. Squeeze the bum on the supporting leg, belly bend to spine, shoulder blades on the back. So your roots are now going deeper into the earth. Maybe your branches start to grow up to the sky. And you can sway a little bit in the breeze, right? Maybe you're super stable. Maybe you add a bit of extra movement here. Maybe it's wobbly enough already. Last option, reach that right arm a little bit higher as the left palm comes to the thigh. Lift tall, and then exhale over to the left. And then inhale, come back to center, lift that knee high, 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 high. Exhale, step it down, shake out the legs. Maybe a little release of the glutes. And then let's go the opposite side. So weight over to the left leg, belly bend to spine, pick up the right leg, and then extend the foot forward, right? So same thing. Try not to hike up the hip. Take a few easy pulses of the right leg up and down. Now again, if it means that you have to buckle or lean back, just lower the leg a little bit, right? It's only leg lifts. Okay, keep the right leg lifted. Couple pulses of the supporting leg. And then belly bend to spine on your exhale, sweep back to your airplane warrior 3. Beam your lifted heel and your heart in opposite directions. Squeeze the top of the thigh on the lifted leg a little bit more so your knee extends. Wrap the supporting hip back. A little micro bend on that supporting knee can help. Last 2 breaths here. Okay, inhale, bring that lifted knee all the way forward and through. And then exhale out to the side. And back to center. And out. And center. Out. And center. And then out. Pause. Again, tree pose. Foot can go wherever it needs to go along your leg. You don't have to do the same one on this side that you did on the first. Press your foot into your leg into your foot, squeeze the bum, belly bend to spine. Maybe your branches go up to the sky. Maybe this side's wobblier than the first. Maybe it's more stable. Maybe it's too stable, so you close your eyes for a second. Last option, reach the left arm high as the right palm comes to the top of the thigh. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, little side bend to the right. And then inhale, lift the knee high. Exhale, step it down. Shake it out. Let's do a couple more hip circles. And then pause, just in Tadasana, eyes open or closed. Breathe. Notice whatever you notice. Feel whatever you feel. And then flick your eyelids open, shake it out a little bit. So that was the yang, right? The energy, let's bring it down again into a little bit more yin style. So inhale, sweep up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Fingertips to shins, inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. 2 more. And then bend your knees enough so that your palms can come flat to the earth. And then step back, hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake or cat and cow. And then let's move into child's pose. So with the knees together, you'll release a little bit more through the lower back, but you'll get more compression through the belly. with the knees wide. You won't have compression to the belly, and you'll release a little bit more through the hips. So wherever you need to go, arms can be extended or wrapped around you or elbows bent. A few breaths here. And then slowly start to press yourself back up to hands and knees. Shift your hips on one side. Swing your legs forward. Shake them out a little bit. Little windshield wiper of the knees. And then fold your right leg in front of you. Left leg goes out to the side. Now here's a really great place to sit up on something like a chip foam block or a folded up towel, just to help tilt your pelvis forward, particularly if all of, like even just sitting here feels like a challenge, right? Give yourself that ease, that ability to sit here a bit more easily, same word again, by using the block. Okay, wrap your shoulders onto your back. Make sure that there's a little micro bend on this knee. I don't care where the toes are pointed, right? It can be really flopsy. And then start to walk forward first with a long spine, right? Kind of like, not a flat back, but a long spine. See how that feels. If it's all right on your low back, then maybe you start to fold forward a little bit. And you might be feeling this in the adductors, in the hamstrings. Sometimes I like to bring a hand underneath my knee just to prevent it from hyperextending, but my legs are prone to that. So if that's not a problem for you, then don't worry about it. Your knee could be deeply bent, right? You could have a block or a pillow underneath that knee for more support if you wish. Okay, can you find your breath again here? And then slowly start to roll yourself back up to seated. Swing your left leg in front of you now and cross your right ankle over top of the left thigh. So figure four stretch. This might be enough for you. If you're sitting up on something, maybe take it out to the side. If you'd like to deepen it, then start to lean back with a long spine, bend your bottom knee, and you could interlace your hands behind the thigh if you wish. And the closer that you drag that heel, that knee in toward you, the more you're going to feel it on the outer right hip. Now, as soon as you round through the spine, you lose the stretch, so keep your spine long. Some of you I know might choose to fold the bottom shin underneath and stack your shins for a fire logs position. Maybe you stay high, maybe you round forward. Go wherever you need to go. Few slow and sweet breaths here. And we really worked those stabilizers, even though we weren't standing for a long time. It was a lot of glute work. So this is a nice way to release into those muscles. And then slowly start to unwind. Unhook your legs, shake out the legs, and then we'll switch sides. So fold your left shin in, right leg goes out to the side. Maybe you sit up on something again. Again, doesn't matter where those toes are pointed. My leg naturally turns in. I ended up turning it out just because that's what I'm used to doing. You could bring a block underneath your knee and then wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. Start to fold forward on a long line, right? You might just be here today, and that's a beautiful place to stay. If it feels all right on your low back, maybe you start to round forward. Doesn't matter how far forward you go. I know some of you are going to have your face to the floor, and that's fine. Maybe if you're like me and you're prone to hyperextension, you bring a hand or a block even underneath your knee. Few slow breaths here. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And then inhale, slowly press yourself back up to seated. Swing that right leg forward and then cross your left ankle over top of the right thigh. Again, if you're sitting up on something, you might remove it up to the side. This might be enough for you on this side. Who knows? Maybe you need to deepen it. So lean back with that long spine and then interlace your hands behind the right thigh. Again, the closer that you draw that leg in, the more you'll feel this on the outer left hip. If you want to go into fire logs, you can go into fire logs, propping however you need to. Right, go where you need to go, but keep a nice active flex on that left ankle. So toes peeling back toward the shin, just so we're not unintentionally sickling that joint. And it keeps it strong. A few more breaths here. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And then slowly unwind, unhook the legs, shake them out a little bit. Little windshield wiper. What time have we got? All right. Set up with your feet at the top edge of the mat. You might tuck your tailbone and start to do a Pilates style roll down to the floor, or maybe you bring your hands behind you and lower yourself down, but making your way onto your back. And then once you're down, hug your knees into your chest, little rock from side to side. And let's move into a twist. So right arm goes out to the side. Maybe you shift your hips right. As you exhale, lower your knees to the left. So twists, it is said, are also a very powerful tool for moving energy in the body, particularly in the lower abdomen and the digestive tract. Which is why usually we twist to the left first and then to the right. And you can take any variation of twist here that you would like to, as gentle or as deep as works for you. Last breath here. And then inhale, come back to center, reset your pelvis and your spine. And then exhale, your knees to the right. Again, any variation of twist, and it doesn't have to be the same one on this side that you do on the first. Last couple breaths here. And then inhale, return to center. If there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, maybe a happy baby or some sort of spinal flexion or extension, feel free to go where you need to go. Otherwise, make your way into your final pose of rest. It could be flat on your back, legs bent, or straight in Shavasana. You can rest on your side in child's pose or a seated meditation. And there's no rush to get there, but once you have found your pose of rest, for a few breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And then let go of your breath control. Return to your natural breath, which can be tricky, particularly after starting with some breathing exercises and pranayama. Notice if you're holding any last muscle tension or gripping. And if so, try to relax or release that a little bit more. And thoughts may come and go. Acknowledge them without judgment, but let them go. Let them drift by you like cherry blossoms on the wind. And stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.